Brad, we started down the path a moment ago, and Alexis said she's kind of concerned after 2 races that Joey Logano's nowhere to be found. Does anybody else show up on your radar about, wow, I thought they'd be higher than this?
A little bit Stewart-Haas, and I'm going to say this, and I know we're really early into this. And look, they had some bad luck, both weeks. Look, Chase Briscoe was really, really fast at Atlanta Motor Speedway. He got caught up in a mess. But here's what concerns me. They also got in trouble at Atlanta Motor Speedway and had some parts confiscating, doing things with the roof flaps on the car for Noah Gregson's car and so on and so forth. And I keep thinking to myself, last year they got hit really, really hard with what they were doing to the underwing of Chase Briscoe's car. And they got hit really hard with some other things that they were doing. And that's what concerns me. I feel like first, hey, if you're trying to get yourself up there through the field, you got to really work on the basics and get up there that way. And then maybe you have some time to play with some trick things. But I think that's where I would probably have concern with a whole team right now.
Yeah, and listen, I'm going to piggyback on that 1 minute. No marquee driver. You can't have a top team without a marquee driver. I'm sorry. They just don't have one. And that puts them at a disadvantage. But I'm going to say that I've not seen, heard mentioned, or maybe even seen him at the racetrack since he won one of the qualifying races. Where has Tyler Reddick gone? You know what I mean? I mean, a 29th and a 30th, but not even been in the races before he had issues, before he was in an accident, before something happened. It's just not, at the same time, Bubba has finished 5th, managed to finish 5th. I'm not saying he's run 5th, but he's managed to finish 5th in the first 2 races. So inside that team, the stuff's there, but Tyler's got, I think he needs to turn it around at 23:11.
A lot of people listening to this show might think to themselves, but we're only 2 races in. How can you? But when you get yourself in these kind of holes early, it makes it so hard to climb your way out.
We talk about it all the time. It's so easy to lose points.
Yeah.
It's so hard to gain.
Exactly.
And when you start and you're spotting the rest of the field 2 races, 2 races in a 26-race season, you're spotting the field 2 races. That's tough.
And then you put yourself into a must-win situation.
Yeah.
You have to go out and win. Last year, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. got the get-out-of-jail-free card.
Yeah.
He won the Daytona 500. Didn't really matter what they did the rest of the year.
Sure.
They were going to the playoffs. Same the other 2 years before with Michael McDowell and Austin Cindric. We didn't have a get-out-of-jail-free Daytona 500 winner.
Yeah.
Maybe we did in Atlanta.
I mean, think about how much easier, for so many reasons, as we've already talked about and documented on the show, but think about how much easier Daniel Suarez is breathing now.
That's right.
That he doesn't have to race for points.
We look at Daniel Suarez, and you talk about a get-out-of-jail-free, but, it looks as a get-out-of-jail-free for down, but he may go on and win 2 or 3 races, then we say, there's a contender. These guys, that was not a fluke. These guys are a contender.
Brad, I want to ask you that. What's your thought? Suarez is in the playoffs right now. Do they keep adding on to this, or is this one that we'll be talking about in 20 weeks going, well, he's in because you remember he won back in Atlanta?
I don't think that they're going to be bad this year. I do think Trackhouse has sort of had a resurgence. We saw that at the end of 2023. Obviously, Ross Chastain winning the season finale at Phoenix says something. Look, he's won. Yeah, he did. In case anyone didn't hear that. But think about this. Trackhouse has now won 2 of the last 3 points races on the schedule. And I do feel that Daniel Suarez is walking around with a little more confidence in what he was doing. And what Kyle said earlier about, you start to get in that quickstand a little bit and you're trying to paddle your way out and you just start digging deeper and deeper and deeper. I do think there's also something else to it. And his crew chief, Matt Swiderski, even said in Victory Lane that, hey, this gives us an opportunity to work on some of these playoffs tracks as well.
Yeah.
We're going to one this weekend at Las Vegas, which is a very pivotal one when we get to the playoffs. Now, I always hate when I hear someone finish bad and say, well, we were trying something out. Well, shouldn't you try something that works? But, how they race the rest of the year feeling like they're in the playoffs versus how they might have raced without them being in the playoffs could also be 2 different things.
Yeah. I'm going to say this. For the rest of the field, if I look at these first 2 races, 2 things have happened in these first 2 races, and it's Daniel Suarez is one of them, and the other one is Front Row Motorsports with Todd Gilliland and Michael McDowell. What you have done in these first 2 races is allowed these 3 drivers to gain an incredible amount of confidence that they didn't have last year, confidence that they didn't carry all year long. So they were kind of beat before they ever got to the racetrack. Now they're going to be rolling into Vegas, pumped up. They're going to be walking big. And when they're walking big, Where's that put Tyler Reddick? Where's that put Bubba Wallace? Where's that put the guy at SHR? These guys are moving up in that ladder and making themselves known.
And it's funny because we've talked a lot about who's going to be the next first-time winner, and we usually say Ty Gibbs or Corey LaJoie. Could very well be Todd Gilliland.
Yes, could very well be.
You know, and while you were saying that, Kyle, I had the thought that confidence is currency in this sport.
Yes,
and
it
can transfer. Ooh. Yeah.
That may be going
That's
on
our motivation of the day, baby.
Take that out on tour, Alexis. That's awesome.